If you're creating an audiobook, are you allowed to use the free music library inside of YouTube or any of the other social apps to add music to your audiobook? Let's talk to everybody's favorite IP and entertainment lawyer, Tony, to find out more.
My name is Tony Iliakostas. I'm an adjunct professor of entertainment law and IP at New York Law School, and I have an Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok account called The IP Professor that is dedicated to all things intellectual property.
When authors are considering making audiobooks of their novels, one question we get is surrounding music. Some topics have come up in conversation recently where people were asking if we see music libraries on social media platforms like YouTube or TikTok or Instagram, are we then able to use those music libraries, if those are the free to use on YouTube music libraries, to then add music to our audiobooks? Tony, is this something we can legally do?
That's going to be a firm no, Houston. So let's kind of break down what exactly the permissions are for using that type of music library in any of these platforms. When you go on Instagram or you go on TikTok or you go onto YouTube and you use any music that is available on a specific music library, let's say you're uploading a video of some sort, the music that you are allowed to use on those platforms is because the music publisher, the record label, whoever owns the copyright to that specific music has granted that social media platform permission to make that music available to that entity. So for example, if I wanted to use, let's say, an instrumental of a Post Malone song on one of my videos, it's because that instrumental version that was approved by his record label has made it available to someone like myself to use it for personal use. If I wanted to use it in a commercial capacity, the onus is on me to get a commercial license agreement from the music publisher and the record label to use that music as a backdrop for, let's say, an ad campaign that I were doing for, a brand that I was working with. Same story on TikTok. In fact, to the point that TikTok has just signed a major music licensing deal with the big three record labels, or the big three in the music space, by way of like Sony, Universal, and I'm blanking on the third. But either way, these big mammoth entities to make all their music available for creators to use in some type of personal capacity. And if you have a business account, odds are that you're not going to get that same type of a la carte access to that specific music, because again, as a more business-oriented entity, odds are you're going to be using that music to promote a business or to promote your services or goods or what have you. That's something that would fall into some type of commercial capacity. But even then, when you are a business entity and you find, like the royalty-free music or the non-commercial music, that music is only to be used on that specific platform. And there is no such thing as cross-pollination typically with these different platforms, because a music publishing deal or a music deal that exists on TikTok may be distinct from what exists with Instagram. It may be distinct from what exists with YouTube. So if that's the universe that we're dealing with there, what's to think that you can now take that music that's available on YouTube or TikTok or Instagram and now bring it over to your audiobook? That is just not the case. That's not how it works. If you want to use music in your audiobook, go to a website like, Incompetech or go to a Shutterstock or anywhere else that typically hosts music, royalty-free music, or some other type of non-commercial, non-rights managed type of content or music rather. Download that asset and use it in your audiobook. And at that point, you're good to go, because typically the license that you're getting for that music, you would disclose by way of a specific license agreement, or just by way of having an account, you're disclosing that you're using that specific music in a specific project. That type of use of non-commercial music in your audiobook is non-existent on TikTok, on Instagram, on YouTube, any other social media platform that has a robust music platform. And I think it's important to note that that the reason why that exists is because the deal with these music publishers or the copyright owners of these music tracks is specific. The use is specific to that specific social media platform. It's not designed to allow users to use it on other platforms.
And we discuss music platforms a lot over on the main channel. We've got some really great ones that we'd love to work with and we recommend to you as well. We'll link those down below. If you are trying to license music for your audiobook, they are great resources for you. You also want to make sure that you are conscientious of the fact that there are some platforms out there that allow you to use royalty-free music. You've got to be very careful when you are doing that and you are just allowed to use some of these music clips because sometimes people put them up in illegal capacities and you have to do the research there because that can come back to haunt you as well. So you always want to make sure you are going through the proper channels when licensing music, sound effects, etc. for your audiobooks. And if you've got questions on audiobooks, we've got tons of videos here to help you create the audiobook of your dreams. We've had audiobook narrators and some fabulous people answering your questions. And if you've got legal questions on audiobooks or anything inside of the publishing industry, Tony is our guy. Drop your questions down below. And as always, you can reach out to Tony on his social media. So Tony, where can everybody find you?
You can find me on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok at the IP Professor, and you can check out my entertainment law podcast called End Scene. New episodes drop every Friday on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
All along for more videos with Tony on keeping you legally protected inside of the publishing space, and for daily videos helping you navigate the world of writing, publishing, and marketing your book to make this your most profitable year ever. We'll see you in the upcoming episodes.